Everyone in the town of Nkokonjeru stood frozen that hot afternoon, staring at the beautiful young woman who sat calmly under the mango tree near the marketplace. Her name was Leya, known simply as Leya, the girl with the brightest smile in the whole town. But on this day, that smile shocked everyone. Because right in front of the crowd, Leya lifted a small, smooth river stone, placed it between her teeth, and chewed it like a biscuit. Crack! Crunch! Crack! People screamed. Others covered their mouths. A few fainted right where they stood. Leya! Stop! Your teeth will break, cried Mama Oda, the tomato seller. But Leya did not stop. She chewed the stones gently, as if they were soft snacks, and swallowed the small pieces. Then she looked up at the trembling crowd with calm eyes and said softly, "You do not understand. I must do this. I don't have a choice." Just as the people began whispering, asking 100 questions at once, Leya suddenly pressed both hands to her chest and gasped sharply. And collapsed. Gasps filled the air. Children ran for help. Old men stood up from their mats, shocked beyond words. Her body trembled once, twice. Then went still. The stones she had not yet swallowed lay beside her like scattered secrets. And just as someone stretched a hand toward her, ready to see whether she was still breathing, Leya's eyes opened. Wide. Shining. Different. Everyone jumped back with fear and confusion. But before anyone could speak, Leya whispered something none of them expected. And that was when everything began to change. But to understand why a beautiful young woman ended up chewing stones like biscuits in the middle of town, we must go back, weeks before the shocking afternoon, back to the first sign that something was wrong. Leya had always lived a simple life with her mother, Mama Nkokonjeru, in a small clay house near the riverbank. People loved Leya because she was gentle, hardworking, and respectful. She helped elders carry water, braided children's hair for free, and sang beautifully in the church youth choir. But everything began to shift on the day Leya woke up with a strange hunger in her stomach. It was early morning. The rooster crowed lazily, and the sun painted the sky with soft orange smoke. Leya sat up in bed and rubbed her eyes. Her mother was already outside sweeping the compound. But Leya's stomach felt odd, like it was empty, yet full. Hungry, but not for food. She tried to ignore it and walked to the kitchen hut. "Good morning, Ma," she said. Mama Nkokonjeru smiled and handed her a warm plate of chapati and eggs. "Eat quickly. You have a long day at the tailoring shop." Leya nodded gratefully, but the moment she lifted the chapati to her mouth, her stomach twisted in a strange way. She felt sick. The smell made her dizzy. She dropped the chapati and stepped back. "My child. Are you sick?" her mother asked. I don't know. I'm hungry, but this food feels wrong." Mama Nkokonjeru felt her forehead and shook her head. "No fever. Maybe drink some tea first." But even the tea tasted strange. Bitter. Wrong. And so began Leya's first battle with the hunger she could not explain. For days, Leya tried different foods: matoke, rice, roasted maize, beans, cassava. Everything made her stomach twist. Everything tasted strange. Then something even stranger happened. One afternoon, while returning from work, she picked up a small stone from the ground, one that glittered in the sunlight like a secret. She rolled it in her palm, admiring its smooth surface. Something in her chest felt peaceful when she held it. She didn't know why, but she brought the stone close to her lips. She wasn't planning to eat it. She just wanted to smell it. But the moment the stone touched her tongue, her whole body felt warm, like someone had opened a door in her chest that had been locked for years. Without thinking, she bit down gently. Crack! She expected pain. She expected her teeth to break. But instead, the stone crumbled softly, like a dry biscuit. And for the first time in days, her stomach relaxed. This is not normal, she whispered to herself. But the relief was too strong. Too sweet. Before she knew it, she had chewed and swallowed the entire stone. And she felt fine. Better than fine. Strong. But terrified. At first, she hid her new habit. She pretended to eat normal food with her mother and coworkers, but she would sneak away to chew stones behind the tailoring shop or near the riverbank. Soon, however, the stones stopped giving the same comfort, and she needed more, bigger ones, smoother ones, darker ones. She told herself she would stop. She promised she would never let anyone see. She prayed that the strange hunger would disappear. But instead, it grew. And then came the day she fainted quietly while working the sewing machine. They carried her home, thinking she was exhausted. She woke up that night sweating and shaking, her heartbeat racing, her breath short. And the hunger felt like it was tearing her apart from the inside. By morning, she could no longer hide it. And that was the day she walked into the busy marketplace, sat under the mango tree, and began to chew stones in front of everyone, hoping it would stop the pain inside her chest. It didn't. And as she lay on the ground after collapsing, the crowd pulling back in fear and shock, the truth inside her chest, whatever it was, pushed to the surface. Her eyes opened. Something glowed inside them. And then Leya whispered, "Mama, it's happening again." Before anyone could ask what she meant, the light in her eyes flickered. And a strange wind swept across the marketplace. For a long moment, the whole marketplace in Nkokonjeru stood frozen. Even the wind that had just blown through seemed to hold its breath. Leya lay on the dusty ground, her eyes glowing softly, like tiny golden lamps hidden behind her pupils. "Mama, it's happening again," she had whispered. Again. The word spread through the crowd like a spark. Again. What had happened before? People looked at one another in confusion. A few stepped back, worried. Others leaned forward, trying to understand. Mama Nkokonjeru finally fought her way through the crowd, her face wet with sweat and fear. She knelt beside her daughter, her hands shaking. "Leya. My child, talk to me. What do you mean again?" But before Leya could answer, the glow in her eyes flickered, once, twice, then slowly faded. Her eyelids fluttered shut, and she slipped into a deep, heavy sleep. The wind settled. The dust fell. The crowd stood speechless. Only Mama Nkokonjeru's soft voice broke the silence. "Please, help me carry her home." And so the story continued. Leya slept for almost an entire day. Mama Nkokonjeru stayed by her side, wiping her face, praying softly, worrying deeply. Every now and then, Leya's fingers twitched as if she were holding something in her dreams. When she finally opened her eyes, it was early morning. The sky outside was pale blue, and the birds sang with the kind of excitement that comes only after rain. Her mother rushed to her side. "Leya. Leya, are you awake?" Leya nodded slowly, but she felt weak, like she had used all her strength the day before. She stared at the ceiling for a moment before speaking. "Ma. I'm sorry." Her mother held her hand. "Sorry for what?" "You scared us. You scared the whole town. Why were you eating stones in the open like that?" Leya looked away, tears building in her eyes. She didn't want to cry, but the weight inside her chest, the secret she had been hiding, felt too heavy now. "Ma," she whispered, "there is something I never told you." Mama Nkokonjeru froze. "What is it, my child?" Leya took a deep breath. "The first time this happened, I was still a child." Her mother blinked. "What happened?" "This hunger," Leya said slowly. "This strange hunger that only stones can calm. It happened when I was 9. But it stopped. Completely. For so many years. I thought it was gone forever. I never wanted it to return. Mama Nkokonjeru stared at her, confused and frightened. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want you to think something was wrong with me, Leya cried. I didn't want you to worry. Mama Nkokonjeru felt her heart twist, but she gently wiped her daughter's tears. My child, you should never fear telling me the truth. Whatever this is, we face it together. Leya nodded shakily. But Mama Nkokonjeru noticed something else, something she had kept quiet about for many years. The faint golden glow Leya's eyes had shone in the market. It was not the first time Mama Nkokonjeru had seen it. The last time had been long ago, when Leya was a baby. But she could not bring herself to speak about it. Not yet. Later that day, neighbors began visiting, bringing fear, questions, and gossip with them. Some came to help. Some came out of curiosity. Others came out of suspicion. What if she is cursed? One old woman whispered. What if she swallowed juju? Another man suggested. Maybe she has demons, someone else muttered. Mama Nkokonjeru grew angry. She is my child, she snapped. Not a demon. Not cursed. But whispers are like smoke, they spread easily, finding their way into every corner of the town. To protect Leya from the stress, Mama Nkokonjeru kept the door locked. She prepared soft foods, hoping her daughter would eat something normal. But when she placed a bowl of porridge before her, Leya shook her head. Ma, I can't. My stomach hurts when I try. But you must eat something, her mother pleaded. Leya lowered her head. Ma, I think I need another stone. Her mother's heart broke. Leya, no. I don't want to, Leya cried. I really don't. But my chest feels tight. My stomach feels like it's swallowing itself. Mama Nkokonjeru pressed her hands to her face. She could not bear to watch her child suffer. But what kind of life was this? What kind of sickness? Finally, she stood up. Stay here. She walked outside, picked up a small smooth stone near their banana tree, washed it, and placed it in front of Leya. I hate this, Mama Nkokonjeru whispered, but I will not watch you suffer. Leya held the stone with trembling fingers. She felt ashamed, like she was doing something wrong. But the hunger was too strong. She put it into her mouth, and the relief washed through her instantly. Her mother turned away so she wouldn't cry. That evening, as the sun sank behind the hills, someone knocked on their door. It was Uncle Miwanj, Mama Nkokonjeru's elder brother, a calm, thoughtful man with a grey beard and eyes that saw more than he ever said. I heard what happened, he said with a heavy sigh. May I speak with Leya? Mama hesitated, then nodded. Uncle Miwanj stepped inside and sat beside Leya. He studied her carefully, gently, as if searching for something hidden. Child, he said quietly, when you fainted in the marketplace, what did you see? Leya looked startled. See? I don't remember. Not even a little, he asked. Not even a picture. A voice. A memory. Leya swallowed hard. Her fingers tightened around the bedsheet. There was a woman, she whispered. I saw a woman standing near me. But she was not someone I know. Mama Nkokonjeru's entire body stiffened. Uncle Miwanj leaned closer. What did she look like? Leya's voice dropped even lower. She was tall, dressed in white, and her feet didn't touch the ground. Mama Nkokonjeru gasped softly, turning away. And her eyes, Leya added, looked like mine did. Golden. Bright. Uncle Miwanj closed his eyes for a long moment. Then he stood up. Sister, he said quietly to Mama Nkokonjeru, it is time. Mama shook her head quickly. No. Not yet. Time for what? Leya asked, sitting up. Mama Nkokonjeru did not answer. Her eyes were wet again. Uncle Miwanj placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You cannot hide this from her anymore, he said. The signs have returned. And if we do nothing, something worse may happen. Leya's heart pounded. Mama, what signs? What is happening to me? Mama Nkokonjeru opened her mouth, then closed it again. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Finally, with a trembling voice, she whispered. Leya, this thing inside you, you were not born with it. Leya stared at her, confused and frightened. What do you mean? Uncle Miwanj spoke softly. You were given something. Long ago. Something ancient. Leya's breath caught. What was I given? They both looked at her with deep sadness. And Mama Nkokonjeru finally whispered. A spirit. A single drop of silence fell between them. Before someone began knocking at the door wildly, shouting for help. The knocking at the door grew louder and more desperate. Help. Please, Mama Nkokonjeru. Open quickly, a voice cried from outside. Mama Nkokonjeru wiped her tears, rushed to the door, and opened it. There stood Keto, a skinny teenage boy from next door. His face shone with sweat, and his chest rose and fell like he had been running. Keto, what is it? Mama asked. It's the marketplace, he gasped. Something strange is happening there, right where Leya fainted. You all must come. Please. People are scared. Uncle Miwanj stiffened. What kind of strange thing? Keto shook his head. Just come and see. Hurry. Leya slowly got out of bed. She still felt weak, but something inside her, something she didn't fully understand, pushed her forward. Mama Nkokonjeru tried to stop her. No, Leya. Rest. You are not strong enough. But Leya shook her head. More, whatever is happening out there. I think it's because of me. Her mother's shoulders fell, defeated. Within minutes, the three of them, Leya, Mama Nkokonjeru, and Uncle Miwanj, were following Keto toward the marketplace. The wind brushed lightly through the banana plantations. Birds fluttered from tree to tree as if sensing something unusual in the air. When they reached the center of town, a crowd had formed around the mango tree where Leya had collapsed the day before. People murmured nervously. Children held onto their mothers. Even the elders, usually calm and unshakable, looked unsettled. And there, at the center of the circle, lay a strange sight. The ground beneath the mango tree had cracked open. A thin line, like the start of a long scar, ran through the dust. Golden light leaked out of the crack, glowing gently like a lantern hidden underground. The moment Leya stepped closer, the crowd parted. Everyone looked at her with fear and curiosity. She is here, someone whispered. Maybe she is the cause, muttered another. No, she is the answer, an old woman said softly. Leya didn't know what to believe. But as she approached the glowing crack, the warmth she felt inside her chest grew stronger, as if something beneath the earth was calling her by name. Uncle Miwanj stepped close beside her. We need to tell her everything, he murmured to Mama Nkokonjeru. Mama nodded sadly. Leya swallowed. Please, tell me now. You said I was given a spirit. What spirit? Why me? Uncle Miwanj placed a hand on her shoulder. Leya, the woman you saw, the tall woman in white with golden eyes, she is not a stranger. Leya frowned. But I've never seen her before. She has seen you, Mama said. Since the day you were born. Leya's heart skipped. Uncle Miwanj took a slow breath. In our family, he began, there is an old legend. Very old. Long before even your great-grandmother was born. Leya listened closely. There was once a guardian spirit known as Nkokonjeru, the spirit of inner strength. She protected our people during droughts, hunger, and times of trouble. But she needed a vessel, someone pure of heart, to carry a small piece of her power. Leya blinked. A vessel. Mama Nkokonjeru nodded. Yes, my child. An infant. A baby not yet touched by fear or anger. Slowly, Leya's confusion grew into realization. You mean, me? Uncle Nkokonjeru nodded. You were chosen. Your grandmother agreed. Your mother agreed. It was meant to help the family, to protect you, to guide your future. And for years, the spirit slept quietly inside you. But why the stones? Leya whispered. Why do I eat stones? Uncle Nkokonjeru pointed gently at the glowing crack on the ground. Because the spirit draws strength from the earth itself. Stones, soil, mountains, those are her food. Not yours. Leya's stomach tightened. So the hunger, the pain, the fainting. All signs that the spirit is waking, Uncle Nkokonjeru said softly. Leya wrapped her arms around herself. She felt small, too small for something so big. But why wake now? She whispered. Why after all these years? Mama Nkokonjeru lowered her eyes. Because the spirit inside you is warning us. Something is coming. Something that will test this town. The word sent a ripple of fear through the crowd. Suddenly, the golden crack in the earth widened with a soft rumble. Step back, someone shouted. But the crack did not break open. Instead, a warm breeze rose from the glowing light, swirling gently around Leya, lifting her hair, brushing her cheeks, making her shiver. It didn't feel dangerous. It felt familiar. As if the earth recognized her. The breeze gathered, thickened, and slowly formed the shape of a woman, tall, graceful, glowing in white. Children screamed and hid. Adults fell to their knees. A hushed silence rolled across the marketplace. There she stood, the same woman from Leya's dream. Her feet did not touch the ground. Her eyes glowed gold. Her dress flowed like mist. Mama Nkokonjeru dropped to her knees, shaking. Uncle Nkokonjeru bowed his head. But the woman lifted a hand gently. Do not fear. Her voice was calm, soft, powerful. She turned to Leya, and only Leya. My child, the spirit said, you have carried me since your first breath. Leya's lips trembled. Why am I feeling so much pain? Why can't I eat normal food? Why am I not normal? The spirit's eyes shone with kindness. Because my awakening has begun. And with awakening comes confusion, weakness, strange hunger. Awakening. Leya breathed. Mama Nkokonjeru squeezed her eyes shut, afraid of what would come next. The spirit knelt down, right in front of Leya. You must make a choice, child. The crowd leaned in, listening. You can release me now, and become completely human again. The hunger will stop. The stone eating will end. The light in your eyes will fade forever. Leya gasped. Oh, the spirit continued softly, you can keep me. Accept me fully. Let me rise within you. And together, we will protect this town from the darkness rising on the horizon. Murmurs filled the air. Darkness. Protect. Leya shook her head, overwhelmed. I don't understand. The spirit touched her cheek gently. You will, she whispered. Leya felt warm tears on her face. Child, the spirit said, you cannot run from who you are. But only you can decide what you will become. The marketplace held its breath. Even the wind stilled. Leya stood in the center of the circle, caught between two futures. Behind her, Mama reached out with trembling hands. Leya, you don't have to carry this burden. Beside her, Uncle Nkokonjeru whispered. But some gifts are bigger than fear. And in front of her, the spirit waited, glowing softly, patiently, lovingly. Leya looked at her hands. Her trembling fingers. Her weak body. Her frightened heart. Then she looked at the people of her town. People she helped. People she cared about. People she once sang with, laughed with, lived with. Her chest tightened. Her breath shook. Then, Leya took a slow step forward. Opened her mouth to make her choice. And just before she spoke, a loud explosion boomed from the direction of the river. The ground shook beneath their feet. People screamed and scattered. Smoke rose into the sky. The spirit's eyes widened. "It has begun," she whispered. And Leya's choice could no longer wait.